This is stage 3 of the rebuild of my beloved Raffo Belva, but actually it's more like part 3 of a saga that would make a television soap look dull and predictable. After 4 years the car is still off the road, and I've just lost 2 years of diabolical letdowns by a local garage supposed to be doing work I cannot easily do myself. Well, the moral of this story, before I go on any further, is to do it yourself. Even if you can't do it yourself, learn to do it yourself. Relying on others has been a nightmare, and the irony is that today it's almost impossible to find the basic engineering skills to work on a car that's outside of the norm, and that when completed will be much simpler than a sophisticated modern computer engine managed vehicle that will be on the scrap heap within 10 years. My Raffo Belva is being rebuilt so that it can be easily maintained and parts replaced whilst offering the economy of some of the leaders in the mass production car market today from my choice of engine. The basic car is the brainchild of John Raffo, whose superb prototype Raffo Belva I owned in 2002. I stupidly sold it. John had built this car and got it right. Now this car is Raffo Belva number 7, I think, and when I bought it in 2008 it was drivable but poorly put together, a big problem with kit cars. The engine vibrated against the chassis, it was underpowered, and even the leather dashboard was poorly stitched together, and that was right in my face. The final stitch was when it broke down on a long journey and I had to be towed back home. The electrics were dodgy, with more earth connections than junctions on a motorway, so I decided to rip everything out and start from scratch. And while I was at it, I decided to cut the rear body in discrete sections so that proper access can be made to the engine for future repairs. A year was lost in allowing a young half-trained mechanic to transfer a different engine, weld on some custom engine mounts and transfer the ECU and engine wiring. So, on recommendation, I approached a local garage and a guy who works on cars for a nearby race circuit. Now, he's done some good work. We signed an agreement for major corrective works in April 2012 to be completed 2 months later in July 2012. Over 40 visits later, stretching over these past 2 years, I pleaded with this guy to make some kind of progress on my car and complete it, and was given many assurances, but tomorrow never comes. So I had to pull the plug earlier this month and pay someone else to get the car back to my garage. Now what little work has been done has left me tearing my hair out. Half-finished engine mountings that are just loosely tacked on, chassis welding with extensive grinding marks weakening the chassis on the space frame at crucial suspension points, and exposing holes in the chassis. Unbelievable and dangerous. Of course I can't name the guy or his garage, as I'd likely be sued, and having been pushed to my limit in having to threaten legal action, I could not even get half an hour's free legal advice from a local solicitor, but he was able to, as a member of the Federation of Small Businesses, and is now issuing a solicitor's letter to me. What? All this despite the fact he apologised profusely for well over a year, stating in front of my witnesses that he was entirely in the wrong and would definitely complete my car. But it doesn't end there, and obviously the word sorry has an entirely new meaning. On top of this, the guy refuses to hand back the drive shafts that he said he sent away to have sleeved, because I passed on the information to him that I was given by an MOT tester that sleeving drive shafts will fail the MOT. Not my opinion. He didn't want comebacks, but if his work is legal, there should be no comebacks. I cannot get the wiring and engine ECU from him that he promised, from a scrap car that he said he bought, let alone a full refund of what he stated several times he would give me. And to add insult to injury, he said that he wasn't prepared to hand over his intellectual property in disclosing how he proposed completing the engine mountings. The engine is leaning at a severe angle, and it's a heavy engine as well. So I imagine the mounting and lining up for the drive shafts is absolutely crucial. Well, my beloved Raffo Belva, now off the road for over 4 years, is just a load of scrap metal and plastic. Of course, the whole problem hinges on my lack of confidence to do what I always did best, which is do it all myself. That is with the exception of welding, which I won't risk my life on. As a young man, I renovated countless cars, rebuilt quite a tricky Mini Cooper S powered GTM, and more recently restored the bodywork and repainted a 1927 Rolls-Royce, not mine of course. But I'm no longer a young man, and as the arrogance of youth is replaced by the uncertainty of increasing age, confidence can go out of the window. But I won't be defeated and see this beautiful car as a passionate love affair, just going through a very rough patch in the marriage. When I can decide whether to stick with this 2-litre diesel Vauxhall engine that promises over 60 miles per gallon, or have to start from scratch with an entirely different lump from another donor vehicle, I do look forward to working on the bodywork, restyling the headlamps that are a defining feature of a car, doing the electrics and making sure that everything is in the right place, including instrumentation that combines traditional dials with high-tech, soundproofing the whole car of course, and then last of all the repainting of the car in a lovely shade of red. Now I am after all a master craftsman. I have the best track record I know, and John Raffo's superb creation deserves the best attention to keep his legacy alive. Please keep posted.